artists would even reject being called manga, similar to how in America some snobbish artists like to call themselves graphic novels instead of comic books. However, Gekiga would eventually be incorporated into manga in general. It's also similar to remember how comic books are just graphic novels, and the medium is filled with many genres. Another natural offshoot of manga in the general world would be underground comics, also similar to America, when Kazuki Nage and Sampo Sirioto created Gero in July of 1964, an alternative magazine that allowed creators to retain editorial control over their stories, thus allowing more experimental manga series. The magazine peaked in 1971, but when sales slowed during the 1980s, resulting in the company being sold to a gaming company in 1991. However, this led to the magazine losing its independent spirit, with many of its regular artists moving on and even founding their own anthology magazines. Eventually, Gero ended in December of 2002. A notable offshoot in manga is the Year 24 group, also known as the Fabulous Year 24 group, which consists of women artists, Mageke, which heavily influenced shoujo girls manga, introducing themes of sexuality and gender. The origin of the name is unknown, though it may refer to the many of the artists being born around Shoujo 24, 1949. Some notable artists of this group was Moto Hagi, Yomiko Asime, and Kiko Takimare. Hogoi and Kakimare were roommates in the Ojima Kame Nirame, Tokyo, from 1970 to 73, and a friend introduced them to Barazuke, the first commercially published gay magazine in Japan. This inspired them to create Shonenai, a genre of homoerotic manga about beautiful boys and men in love, but made for and by females. It will be different from the Yoi genre, which focused on sexually explicit scenes, in which Shonenai focused on romance outside of sex. However, Year 24 also made a point to expand shoujo in other genres as well, including science fiction, history, and adventure. This series would eventually make their way overseas with the 4 Shoujo Stories, which was published by Viz in 1996 and translated into English, featuring Hagoi's They Were 11, a science fiction story about space cadets trapped in a ship. The golden age of manga is considered the 1980s and 90s during Japan's economic boom. In 1995, 1.3 billion copies were published in that year alone, and they were used as textbooks in schools as well. In 2010, it reached $3 billion in sales as it entered the digital age. The new manga emphasized narration over line drawing, with a notable one being One Piece by Oda Ichichiro, which reached the Guinness World Book of Records with the most copies of one book sold by the same author, with 460 million copies in 43 countries as of November of 2019. The fantasy adventure about Monkey D. Yuffie, a young boy who acquires stretching powers and sets out to find the fabled treasure of a legendary pirate, has since been adapted into numerous cartoons, movies, and video games. Of course, a history of manga would not be complete without addressing its sister medium, anime. Anime is the Japanese word for animation and thus covers all animated media. Outside of Japan, the word refers to any animation originating from Japan. Also, like manga, anime covers all genres. The first official manga first appeared in 1917 with the Kobe Shinekokje Min Nisapa Bumpy New Picture Book, The Failure of a Great Plan, being the first confirmed work appearing in February. And Mukawa Muzoke The Doorman by Shimamako Oto was also introduced in 1917, considered one of the first examples of anime. Toshi started producing pictures in the 1950s. Mushi Pro claimed to coin the term anime, which was first called Toribi Manga, TV manga, and Manga Igi, comics films. They used stiff stills to imply movement. However, in 2005, a short animated clip, Katsude Shansen, was discovered featuring a boy in a sailor suit drawing and is believed to be produced before 1912. Due to not being able to track down its creators or origins, the work remains a curiosity. From these humble origins, the anime medium will evolve, with 60% of films and TV series produced being linked to manga, with some anime series like Fullmetal Alchemist finishing before the manga series. It would expand in the 1960s, with the first anime premiering in America with Three Tails in 1960, and followed by Astro Boy by Osamu Tezuka, which appeared in the U.S. on January 1st, 1963. Today, 340 anime series were on TV as of 2015. The medium produces numerous award-winning films and shows as well, notably from legendary filmmaker Hayao Miyazaki, who Spirited Away won the 2002 Oscar for Best Animated Film, one of only 2 films ever to do so. With all this content, it's only natural fans will be attracted to the medium, as in America, and conventions eventually formed in celebration of it. The most notable one is Comic-Kit, Comics Market, which attracts up to 500,000 visitors in Ariki, Tokyo at the Tokyo Big Sight. It was originally started by Yoshiro Yunezawa, Tiro Harada, and Jun Anwa as a venue to release self-published manga, doujin, overseen by the Comic Market Preparatory Committee, Comica PC. This was in response to Nihon Sci-Fi Takai, a sci-fi convention, rejecting a doujin applicant because they criticized the convention's emphasis over professional applicants. Since its first inauguration, December 21st of 1975, Comic-Con has grown to the largest fan convention in the world, with an expected attendance of 730,000 for the year of 2020. The overwhelming number of participants remain doujin, with many losing money, though Comic-Con does host up to 190 corporate vendors as well. Of course, like many modern conventions, cosplay is rampant, and Comic-Con is arguably the single biggest celebration of manga in the world. One benefit of the U.S. occupation after World War II in this incident was that it forced manga to expand into different genres. Traditional Japanese sports like martial arts were banned at schools, and war and samurai stories were banned as well. Allies instead encouraged Western sports like baseball and boxing before the ban was lifted in 1952. Manga would reflect this, like Bat-Kit, Batao-kun, a baseball manga, and Boy Agure, about a kid in a judo club. The 1960s saw the rise of professional and star athletes, especially after the 1964 Tokyo Olympics, while the 1970s saw the return of traditional Japanese sports. Women also expanded their rights in Japan, leading the manga to reflect this as well, with ballet-inspired books. In the 1980s, Captain Tsubasa, a soccer manga, was launched. In the 1990s, Slam Dunk, a basketball manga, was also launched. And today, the sports manga is even more diversified, with many books tackling multiple sports at one time. There is even a manga about American football, Ice Shield 21, which ran from July 23, 2002 to June 15, 2009 for 37 volumes. To my knowledge, not even American comic books have produced a football series as successful as this one. The further expansion of manga led to the anthology magazines to further expand the medium. A notable one was Weekly Shonen Jump, which would hire rookie artists to compete and use reader surveys to guide stories, which would include now classic series like Dragon Ball, Naruto, and One Piece. It was originally launched by the Shueisha Incorporated on July 2, 1968, meant to compete with Weekly Shonen Magazine and Weekly Shonen Sunday. It went bi-weekly its first year before going weekly in 1969, where it has remained ever since. Weekly Shonen Jump has since become the most successful manga magazine in the world, with circulation of 1.7 million. On November 2002, a monthly version of the magazine, Shonen Jump, was released in North America, and instantly became successful at 300,000 copies sold, requiring 3 printings to do so. Despite high sales averaging 215,000 an issue, Shonen Jump was discontinued in April of 2012 in favor of the digital Weekly Shonen Jump. Manga and anime has become influential in numerous other mediums as well. Masawato Shingen cited manga as the inspiration for Donkey Kong, and vice versa, the Pokemon game inspired manga and anime series, launching a multimedia empire, most recently with the Detective Pikachu live-action movie that came out in 2019. Even films like The Matrix have had a heavy influence from the manga anime, to the point that where the Animatrix anthology series was released, telling stories in the Matrix universe made by many of the leading anime producers at the time. Even Batman has gotten in on the action with the 2008 Gotham Knights release, which also told a series of stories produced by anime creators. Manga in general also started to influence American comic books, helping develop graphic novels in America, as Frank Miller would provide covers for the Lone Wolf and Cub translations, while Raw Magazine also reprinted manga during the 1980s. Manga has been adapted for multiple levels of reading, and often the manga and anime inspired would end up at different times. Captain Tabadushi promoted water construction and working with the Japan Self-Defense Force, and was popular on Iraqi TV during the Iraqi occupation, which prompted many of Iraqis to install satellites where Captain Tabadushi was broadcast with Arabic dubs. As a result, many Iraqis thought that Tabadushi was Saudi instead of being Japanese. During the Edo period, 1615 to 1868, sexually explicit art was also a major genre. Called the Floating World, Ukiyo-e, Kawawabe Kayoshai promoted shunjin, the Japanese term for erotic art. The art dated back to the Heian period, 1794 to 1185, and mostly focused on sex scandals featuring monks and courtiers. The Tokugawa shogunate attempted to ban shunjin in 1661, where it was only driven underground, like most examples of pornography, and continued to be published with little difficulty. Modern shunjin, called hentai today, now focus on women as objects, like in new subgenres like torture pictures. Simi-e has appeared. Shunjin prompted numerous types of coupling, such as My Brother's Husband, which is basically gay marriage, and Shinji no Yoi, Comings and Goings in the Four Seasons, used manga in 1798. The subgenres are even more varied, with bishojo, beautiful girls, and even interspecies sex. Today, manga is one of the most popular mediums in the world, becoming a billion-dollar industry that covers all genres and fills nearly every comic books or bookstores. Let's be honest, even the manga section is the same size, if not larger, than the American comic book section at your local Barnes & Noble. With its sister anime medium, it is arguably one of the most popular mediums in the world. As mentioned earlier, it is a manga, One Piece, that holds the most books sold by a single author, and it doesn't look to be slowing down anytime soon. Look no further than the recent hits of My Hero Academia and Attack on Titan. While this episode is obviously too brief and rambling to cover everything about manga, a lot of that is because history is still being written for years to come. I would like to thank the chief source of this episode, Manga, the City Exhibition, edited by Nicole Coolidge Rosemary and Matsuba Ryuko from the British Museum. A scholarly work that features numerous interviews and examples of the manga medium, along with being a pretty thorough history of manga itself. A solid read for anyone interested in the great medium. Also, I must apologize for any mispronunciations. I tried my best, but remember, I'm a comic book fan. We've been mispronouncing Magneto for years. And now it is January 30th, 2020, time for the favorite comic of the week. Criminal, number 12, by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, which wraps up the, was already seems like a now classic Cruel Summer story arc as secrets are revealed and twists come out, as the Lawless deals with the fallout from the robbery that not everyone makes it out alive. Great issue that really shows how the criminal past, no one ever gets away clean. Brubaker really cracks in the door, and even though readers will know what happens, Lawless is left wondering, well, what the heck happened with the fallout. And of course, Phillips' art is this crime noir perfection. Today's Criminal is just easily one of the best crime comic books, and frankly, one of the best comic books in the stands right now. Worth picking up, and I can't wait for their upcoming new series, Pulp, which they announced at the end of this issue. Looks fantastic. Whenever you see Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips teamed up, that's a must-read. And with that, we will move on next week to a multi-part series on the classic rivalry between Marvel and DC. Until then, go out and enjoy yourself a good comic book.